All right. Let's get the seatbelt on first before I begin. Okay. This stand needs to sit straight. All right. So, welcome back. Back on the car again. Making another video. Today, predominantly, I want to speak about Bitcoin and about all the other investment assets I have. So quite recently, we have noticed that things haven't been going so well in terms of investments. Not just Bitcoin. I think you can see the S&P 500 has dipped slightly. Gold reached its all-time high, and I guess it consolidated a little bit now as well. So there's a few aspects to it. So it's very interesting. Let's see how I get out here. Anyways, but basically, right now today, what we see is a lot of the investment assets are dropping significantly, and what happens with that is people start to panic. I want to make this video to say, instead of panicking, we should have another mindset, which is if we have conviction about the assets we're buying, we should double down. Of course, you want to double down with only kind of the assets you're willing to lose or you're willing to dispose of, right? So you should only use your, I guess you can call it disposable income to basically invest, right? You shouldn't use money that you have to live off of or pay your mortgage off of. You shouldn't use that money to invest, and I would never recommend it. Before I move on to talk a little bit more about Bitcoin in specific and kind of why I invest in it, why is it dipping, why is the overall market dipping, I want to preface this to say that everything I say is educational, borderline entertainment. As I mentioned, it's all for my own journal, so it's my own opinions. Whether you follow it or not, that's up to you. Please do your own research when reading. And of course, I'm learning as well. I'm just trying to share my thoughts while I drive, and hopefully it can be kind of entertaining for some of you guys, because indeed these kind of video formats for me after long days of work has been very, very much of a therapeutic kind of thing. Anyways, going back into the topic, why are assets dropping? I think assets are dropping for a multitude of reasons, predominantly speaking about S&P 500 and Bitcoin now. I think they faced the most significant drops, but basically what's happening right now is that the central bank in the US is I think they are not going to be increasing rates or decreasing rates anytime soon. So I think Warren Buffett mentioned that, rates are basically gravity to the S&P 500. I think they did a rate cut recently, but is it enough to spur the growth of the S&P? I think it did definitely spur it a little bit, but definitely not significant. So with that, we have to then think about other macro factors, like for example, in Bitcoin, I think now institutional investors' monies are drying up. We're very debt focused right now. I think there's a lot of consolidation going on. As I mentioned, economies are not doing as well due to tariffs, due to wars, etc., you name it. We probably have it right now. So with all that happening, it has led to finally, in a positive manner, there's some pullback in terms of the returns you get, right? Which is fine. We just have to really strategize and take advantage of these things. And as I was talking before, people tend to see panics happening, set in during these times. Oh my God, the traffic is horrible. I don't know if you can see through my camera, but Malaysian traffic. Anyways, going back to the topic, panic selling is probably the worst idea at this point. However, if you need it to live, you need it for emergencies, by all means, do it, right? But of course, you have to be very prudent about it. You have to think about why you bought it in the first place. Basically, your why. Just like how my last video, I was talking about the why. You have to always think about the why, right? Why did you buy it? Do you still have conviction in your stock or your asset? If you do, why are you selling it when there's an opportunity to buy in? Why are you selling it in promotional time? For example, I'll give you an example. A car. There's a over, let's say the city is having a promotion at year end because they want to clear sales and etc. Sure. So there's a sale on the Honda. Would you not buy a Honda, or would you try to sell your current Honda because they're giving a promotion for a new Honda? That makes no sense, right? Of course, again, if you need it for medical emergencies, you need it for education or your kids or your family whatsoever, that's a different story, right? However, in our case, when we're talking about investments, usually I would assume it's not money that you need immediately. It's more of a fear factor. What happens if it goes to zero, right? So when something's on promotion, going back to that analogy, like for example, the Honda City, I would buy it, right? Because I wanted it and I made a conscious decision to do my research and have the conviction to pull the trigger when it's on promotion. And I know once I drive it off the lot, a Honda City will depreciate, right? It will go down. Imagine it as a stock. It will keep going down. It will never go up. It will go down. It takes money out of my everyday income and it goes down. So it's a horrible asset, but sometimes you just got to get it for the pure necessity of a daily car or stuff like that. It's not exactly the same as a stock, but you kind of get my point. You should change your mindset to see it as more of an opportunity rather than fearing the worst and taking your money out, okay? So that's the first thing I want to talk about, which is due to all of these external macro factors, which changes day to day, right? Like, you never know. Trump could come out and make a statement and suddenly the market goes balloons high up and you miss that gain, right? And if you time the market, there's a statistic out there that says timing the market is the worst possible thing to do because it will cause you to miss out on gains, right? You potentially, if you time it perfectly, the amount of gains you get extra is limited. But if you miss those big gains days, right? Like the days where, for example, Trump became president and stocks just went up, crypto went up, you miss those days, your performance of your portfolio drops significantly, right? Right, so we got that out of the way. Now let's talk a little bit more about Bitcoin. So I tend to try to be heavier on the risk side when I invest in Bitcoin because I know that Bitcoin has very high potential. Now again, this is my opinion. I like Bitcoin for various reasons, which I will cover here. I try to remember it while I drive, but in basic terms, I'm very interested in the store of wealth. I'm very interested in it being digital gold, which is also another way of saying store of value, right? I'm also very interested in it being decentralized. Nobody can control it. Nobody can manipulate it. I'm also very interested in the fact that it's non-inflationary. As a matter of fact, I think you can call it deflationary, right? It's only 21 million Bitcoins you can get in the world. And if you have even one of them, it's a limited resource that if you study up history or anything in mankind, when there's a limited resource, you can really charge a very high premium for it. Now, I would call gold even less of a limited resource, because I think gold kind of, if I'm not wrong, it's from stars, right? There's another way. I mean, there is always a way for you to get more gold, and mine more gold, right? I think we're purposely controlling the supply to get the price to move up, but that's another story. I would say that gold is not limitless, but it has a rough cap, similar to fuel, right? It's not limitless. When things decay, goes to the ground, it turns into fuel. I think that's a very simple way of putting it, but of course it's more complicated than that. But Bitcoin has a hard cap, right? The hard cap is 21 million, and each halving that comes, the less Bitcoin is mined. So that's a very limited asset that I want to be part of, and I truly believe in its potential to be a very strong store of value as we move into the digitalized era, right? I don't think it will replace gold. I think it will perform similar to gold, where as things get more uncertain, Bitcoin usually does better. Now, that's not the case because Bitcoin is falling, S&P is falling. Of course, I'm looking at it from a very short time horizon. But basically, what I believe is that as inflation rises, as fiat money becomes weaker, Bitcoin will become stronger. That's my main thesis. The other side of it is no one can manipulate it. No one can print more money. No one can say, hey, shut down the system, or nobody can control it outright. It's a one and only, it's the oldest blockchain that has yet to fail, right? No one can get into it. No one can manipulate the ledger, the digital. Hey guys, I'm back. I'm sorry for the abrupt cut. When I arrived, I rewatched the video a little bit, and I saw my phone notify me that my storage is full. I think that's the limitations of recording on your iPhone. But anyways, just want to get back here so I can end the video on my last point, which is what is my verdict? What am I going to do now? Am I going to buy? Am I going to sell? Am I going to hold Bitcoin? In the essence of Bitcoin, I think that we've reached a point where it's pretty high. It is pretty high. I still see a lot of potential. I think the top is very hard to say. No one can say it, right? So whether I buy it today or I buy it at the end of the month, that's another story. So you never should time the market, right? I'm not sure if I repeated myself based on the video where it cut off, but I think this is where I left off. We should never time the market. We should always have a systematic way of going into the market. And for me, it's at the end of the month when I review all of my portfolio, and I see whether or not my proposed allocation of having 13% only in cryptocurrency, whether I'm above that quartile or I'm below that percentage. And if I'm below, I'll buy into it to make it up to 13%. And if I'm above, I'll trim it. So recently, past 2-3 months, I've been trimming it. Taking the money and moving it to other assets, like Malaysian stocks, for example. And now I think it's time to take money out of other places and put it into cryptocurrency, because now it's looking like a very, very good opportunity to buy in, and a very, very good discount for us to buy into. Now, with that said, again, this is not a buy call. This is my personal opinion. I like to have systems in place. So, for example, right now I am at a point where I have a system. I review my portfolio every month, and when I get my salary, I allocate. Right now, I allocate around 1,800 or so. 2,500. Some of it goes to property that. My property NASDAQ that I want to save up to buy a property. Some of it goes to the stocks, and some of it goes to assets, right? Assets include stocks, gold, crypto, and all things like that. So with that said, I think there's a strong my conviction is still very strong with Bitcoin, so that means I will buy into it definitely. How much I buy into it, it depends at the end of the month. Let's see where that percentage falls. Let's say it's at around 9%. I'll try to put a little bit more money to make it up into that 13% percentage, right? If everything falls, then that's a different story. But of course, I have a very diversified portfolio. If some things drops, I know some things will go up. Some things are pretty stable, like for example the ETF, the money market fund, so they kind of equalize that for me. So this is a very high risk stock, sorry, not stock, a very, very high risk investment asset. So if you guys are going into cryptocurrency, please do some research on it. If your conviction is high and you can stay disciplined and you have a system in place, I think cryptocurrency can be a very, very good source of returns, right? It's not guaranteed returns. It can completely tank one day. Who knows? Not even the best person on Wall Street would know whether or not crypto will tank, but definitely there's a possibility there. So with that said, I end the video. I covered 3 things already. Do not panic sell. Why I'm convicted in Bitcoin and why I'm buying into it. And third, what am I going to do next? So right now I'm leaning to buying. I'm going to wait till the end of the month, follow my systems. Only if my portfolio does horribly against the standard benchmarks will I consider doing something else out of the mean. So far I haven't had to do that. I follow my system. I'm very disciplined. I like the performance I'm getting with my system. I'm going to stick to it till it fails, right? So today my conviction is clear with Bitcoin. I'm going to wait till the end of the month to see what I'm going to do. Okay, with that, thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the abrupt cuts. I'll try to clear more storage next time I record these longer videos, or I'll try to invest in a camera, but that's gonna be a huge investment for me. I think I'm just gonna stick with the iPhone for now. Thank you. Have a nice day. It's the weekend for me. Tomorrow's a new day for work. It's gonna be tough, but we put our head down. We go back to our why. We say we do this for a greater cause, and for me, it's to really get that financial freedom, get that peace of mind that I'm chasing for, right? With that said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye bye.